Death at Devil's Bridge. Chapter 24. A lady, an explorer, a traveller in skirts. The notion's just a trifle too seraphic. Let them stay home and mind the babies or hem ragged shirts. But they mustn't, can't, and shan't be geographic. Punch, 1893. It only took a moment's examination for Charles and Kate to determine that Patsy's photograph taken from the vantage point of East Terrace had caught the squire red-handed, in the act of jerking the grapnel from its mooring at the side of the gondola. But it took some moments more to decide what to do with the photograph, and still more for Kate to explain the evidence she had gathered, without all anticipating its actual use, at the ill-fated dinner party the night before. Evidence which at this moment rested on a shelf in Mutt's pantry. In the end, after much debate, it was Kate and Patsy who put on their cloaks and set off to visit Roger Thornton. Charles was not entirely happy with this arrangement and expressed his dissatisfaction with some force. But as Kate quite recently pointed out, he had far too much to do with the fingerprint evidence to spend time chasing about after errant squires, and Patsy was really a far more suitable agent. Patsy herself had a very strong motive to undertake the assignment and was quite persuasive on her own behalf. "I want to do it," she said earnestly. "I will smile prettily and toss my head, and the squire will be flattered into believing that I am the very sweetest and most compliant sort of young lady. He might say no to you, but he will not be able to resist my invitation. There really can be no danger, Charles. There are servants at hand, of course, and Patsy shall tell the squire that I am waiting in the carriage, and all she has to do is show him the photographs that she took of the balloon launch. Not the one of his dropping the grapnel, though," Charles said grimly. "That we shall save for later. But the others will do quite well," Kate said. "You see how glossily enamelled they are." So their plan was formed. Charles dispatched the gardener's boy to Marlborough Head with this message for Constable Lakin. "Bishop's Keep, September 27. My dear Ned, I may after all be able to use that fingerprint to good effect. Please inform Ponsonby, Dixon, Bateman, Dunstable, and Rolls that they are expected to join us here at 7 this evening. Light refreshments and entertainments will be provided. I am thinking of a magic lantern show, with lanterns, slides of the balloon, and the chase, and so forth. I feel quite safe in saying that Thornton will also be in attendance. I trust that your own researches are progressing. Let me hear what you have found. Yours faithfully, Charles Sheridan." Kate consulted briefly with Mrs. Pratt on the menu, then she and Patsy climbed into the closed carriage and were driven by Pocket to Thornton Grange. Once there, Kate remained in the carriage like a very grand lady, waiting nervously and wondering whether, after all, it had been a good idea to send Patsy on this errand alone. But there was no reason for nervousness. Patsy returned with a satisfied smile. "The squire sends his compliment to Lady Catherine and is pleased to join her and Sir Charles at 7 this evening." "And the photographs?" She displayed the large envelope she had taken with her. He took them with some apprehension, carried them to the window, and examined each one carefully, turning them over to read the legend I had written on the reverse. I'm sure he was worried that I might have captured his despicable act on film, but when he saw nothing incriminating the man, was all smiles. He returned the photographs to me in a very pretty compliment as to my artistic prowess. I am sure that they have his fingerprints all over them. Kate smiled. "I hope your performance was not too successful, Patsy. You may have encouraged him to believe that you will accept him as a suitor." "When the time comes," Patsy said grimly, "I will very quickly disabuse him of that notion." Her voice changed, and she held out her hand. "I must seek a favour of you, Kate. Quite a large favour, I'm afraid." "You know that anything I may do for you, I shall," Kate said. "What is it, Patsy?" She did not answer for a moment. When she did, she spoke first of her brother. "Bradford and Papa quarrelled last night. Papa said that Bradford is disgracing the master name with his motor cars and the like, and has vowed to stop his allowance." "That is a regular threat," Kate said, "according to Bradford at any rate. This time, however, I think Papa is quite serious. And so is Bradford. His vows to have nothing more to do with Papa's money, and says that from this moment forward he will earn his own." "Commendable," Kate said dryly. "I understand that he has gone to London by the early train this morning. Yes, I expect to follow him in a fortnight or so. In the meantime, and this is the favour I must ask of you, I would like to stay at Bishop's Keep." She raised her head, and Kate saw the determination written on her face. "I can no longer remain with my mother and father. I am going away." Kate was silent for a moment, thinking of the implications of this. "Has Mr. Rolls asked you to marry him?" No, he has not, Patsy said fiercely. If he had, I should have refused him. Ah, Kate said, more happily and relaxed. So this was not a matter of disappointed love or broken heart. She had not thought so, but she was glad to be certain. Indeed, Patsy said with the same intensity, this does not concern Charles Rolls, although Mamma is sure that he is the root of my disaffection. She has ordered him out of the house to protect my virtue, my public virtue, that is, she added bitterly. I have assured Mamma over and over again that nothing untoward has occurred between us, and never will. But she thinks more about the appearance of things than the truth of them. I do believe I could be a private strumpet of the wildest sort, and if word of it did not get out, I should be quite safe in the eyes of my Mamma. I see, Kate said gravely, and she did see the pain in Patsy's eyes, and the hurt in her voice was clear, and she understood the girl's heartache. If you should leave, where do you mean to go? What will you do? Patsy looked out the window. I don't know, she confessed with a sigh. The truth is that I don't really understand myself or have more than the vaguest idea of what I really want. All I know is that I must get away from Mama and Papa, and from England too. Her voice took on a fierce intensity again. Living here is like living in a hothouse, Kate. I am rooted in the soil that is too rich, pampered and petted as if I was some sort of delicate exotic plant. I am closed in from the weather, from the cold and from storms, and I scarcely know what real life is like except that it cannot be like this. I understand, Patsy, Kate said quietly. She loved Bishop's Keep and was grateful to the generous aunt who had made it possible for her to have a life here. And, of course, she was deeply in love with Charles, and for the most part, her heart was content. But happy as she was, there was another part of her that longed to be gone, to be moving through the world, unencumbered and alone, as she once had been, and free to choose where she should go, and what she should do without consulting anyone. Patsy turned eagerly to her. Oh, Kate, how I envy you, growing up in New York with a policeman for an uncle, making your own way as a governess and an authoress, a famous authoress. She stopped, suddenly conscience-stricken. Oh, pshaw now. I've let the cat out the bag. What a dunce I am. Kate stared at her for a long moment. How did you know? She asked finally. Everyone knows, Patsy replied, abashed. Your servants may be loyal, but one simply can't keep secrets from them. I suppose one of them said something out of turn, just as I have done. It is a fascinating story, and the news is all over the village. All over the country, I dare say. All over the county, I dare say. Even those who do not read detective fictions read Bill Bartwell's, for they know them to be yours, and to be worth reading. Of course, she added hastily, your stories are very much admired. Kate sighed, resigned. I might have known, she said, that I could not keep Bill Bartwell's secret forever. Then, a little disconcerted, she thought of Charles's mother and brother and his own future position and added, I do hope, however, that the report does not travel far. There are certain people. Certain people, Patsy prompted after a moment, but Kate had thought better of the confidence, for it was not likely that the news would ever go as far as Somersworth. Anyway, she could not fret about what Charles's mother might think. There was nothing at all that she could do about it, anyway. My occupation and what people think of it is neither here nor there, Patsy. We are talking about you, and what you are to do in this world. You seriously intend to leave your parents' home? I do, Patsy said with great earnestness. I don't know everything I want, but I do want to see the world, and perhaps that will teach me to know what it is that I want. But could you not see the world with your mother or your sister? But I could not, Kate, Patsy said, almost indignant. Mamma and Eleanor frequent only those places where other English people go, and stay in the hotels with their English friends, and go to balls with other visiting English people. If I went with them, I should not see the world as it is, but only as a pale reflection of England. She shook her head emphatically. No, to see the world truly, I must not expect it to suit me, or to meet the expectations I have already formed. I must go out into it, like a child who does not know what she shall find. Like Mary Kingsley, Kate suggested with a smile, thinking of a woman whose writings she had recently read, paddling her canoe through the swamps of West Africa, dodging crocodiles, and then sitting down in her tent with a candle to write about it. Exactly, Kate, only I shall take the crocodile's photograph, not merely write about him, and I shall photograph giraffes and rhinoceros and elephants and tigers, and send the pictures to you. She thought for a moment, then added in a breathless rush, "No, rather, you shall come with me on one of my expeditions, and after I've gotten entirely used to seeing the world alone, and we shall motor across Europe and ride camels across the Gobi and climb the Swiss Alps. I shall take pictures of everything, and you shall write about where we have been, and we shall see ever so many strange sights, and the thought of the very strangest sight and be thought the very strangest sight of all. We shall be a pair of those globe-trotteresses that Punch is always poking fun at. What do you say, Kate?" "I say bravo," Kate smiled. "And when we return we shall travel all around, lecturing in enormous crowds about our exploits and giving magic lantern shows of your photographs." Patsy reached for her hand. "Promise me, Kate," she said solemnly. "I promise," Kate said, and squeezed her young friend's hand, thinking that Patsy would do, after all. She would do very well indeed. "But before then," she added, "we have tonight's lantern show to arrange." "Yes," Patsy said, and lost some of her eagerness. "But first I must go back to Marston Manor to bid Mamma goodbye and to pack my dressing cases." She managed to smile. "A fearless explorer must certainly have something decent to wear." "But surely you can postpone your departure for a few days, Patsy. Not that I don't want to come to Bishop's Keep, of course, but your mother has just returned from abroad, and which makes it exactly the right time for me to do it," Patsy said decidedly. "If I were to remain with her any longer, I might come to fear her again, so much that I should not be able to leave." She shook her head. "No, Kate, now is the perfect time to begin. A fearless explorer I shall be, fearless and reckless, and I have you to thank for showing me how."